Okay. Hey, what's going on? Welcome. And if you're here to hear my story of, where I started, where I'm at now. I decided to use these as like a little backdrop just to kind of help explore, just kind of show the come up from, where I started and where I'm at now. This isn't even where I'm at now. This is just the best photo to uh, merge these two together. This is a old photo of me on my first Porsche, first manual, and also my first car. So that was this one right here. And that's me still in the military. This is a little parking lot. This is all military members' vehicles, and this is a barracks building. Either that's a barracks building or that's the defect. I think that's the defect. In fact, the barracks building was off to the side. That was the defect. Here, this is me just at a gas station. I was just posting up out of my car. 23 years old here. Um, GT3, 23 GT3. I bought them at the same time. It was kind of my birthday gift to myself. So yeah, let's get started. Let's talk about this. Like, how did I go from here to here? How did that happen? It was through trading. I discovered trading while I was in the military. But yeah, so my trading journey, that's what we're going to talk about today. Sorry, this is just so I've never sat down and kind of explained my come up. Another thing everybody might be asking, and a lot of people don't know why I decided to buy a Porsche. It's because when I was growing up as a kid, I had an RC car and it was a Porsche. And I thought it was just the coolest thing. It was like the first like sports car I ever saw. It was an RC car. I actually found some photos of what I believe I was playing with. This is what it looks like. It had a long antenna. I remember distinctly that antenna because I ended up breaking it by putting it in a socket, in an outlet socket, and I remember it exploded in my face when I did that. I put the antenna all the way in, and then yeah, it was bad. I'm pretty sure I electrocuted myself. Um, yeah, so and then it broke, and my grandfather probably threw it away. I think it was his. It was definitely his. I That toy car was way too cool for me. But I'm getting off topic. But that's where my obsession and love for Porsches began. And I never was like, I didn't have any posters in my room of cars or anything like that. Honestly, my room was kind of mid. But I always remembered that car. And when I went to go purchase my first vehicle, I remember seeing this on the side of the road with a for sale sign, somebody was selling it. And at the time, I had enough money to pick it up and pay cash for it. And I just got into my duty station in Hawaii. So this is Schofield Barracks, me in Hawaii. And yeah, I decided to buy it. That's my first car. It was a manual. I wanted to be able to drive manual. So I figured, I'm going to force myself to be able to drive manual, but buy myself a Porsche and get in a manual and not be able to drive it, teach myself how to drive. So in fact, the first few days that I had it, I couldn't drive it at all. The dude that I bought it off of actually drove it to the parking lot and parked the car, and that's where it stayed. And except at night, I would go out when everybody was asleep. I would just drive the car over to the motor pool. Motor pool is where all the Humvees and stuff are parked, but there's a big parking lot there because everybody parks in the parking lot and then goes into the motor pool to work on all the vehicles during the workday. So at night it's empty. I'll drive it there. I'd creep over there, and then I would practice driving and shifting gears in that parking lot. And that's how I taught myself how to uh, just, drive the car basically until I felt comfortable enough, probably like a weekend, to take it out on the roads. Funny, a funny thing about that was I didn't even have a license yet. I had a provisional license because I was coming from Maryland. And in Maryland, when you turn 16 or whatever, I did the driver's license course. I never went back or did whatever it took, whatever it was that I needed to do to get an official driver's license. So I still only had a provisional, and some people might not know what a provisional license is, but you need an adult or someone over the age of 18 or 21 with a license to drive with you. And there's also a bunch of parameters on when you can drive, like what hours of the day you're allowed to drive, yada yada. Anyways, everybody in Hawaii and my command had no idea because the provisional license looks just like a license unless you look at the fine print and you see it says provisional license. So for the first like 2, 3 months, I was on base and driving my car around. I had no license and I didn't get caught until we had an inspection where they check everybody's vehicles, not everybody's vehicles, but make sure that everybody has insurance, everybody's license is up to date. And when we did that, they were like, hold up, there's a discrepancy here. What does provisional mean? Anyways, then I got caught and got in a little bit of trouble, got chewed out, whatever. Did some push-ups. Everything was good though. But anyways, yeah. So that kind of explains this picture here. And then this is me, 23, bought myself a little birthday gift. Decided to buy myself a GT3 because I wanted to upgrade from what I had already. I had like a 911 Carrera was the last Porsche I had before I upgraded to this. And the 911 is cool, but I just wanted more power, more oomph. And I figured, what's above the 911 Carrera S? Let's get the GT3. Plus, my 911 was at my home in Hawaii, and I just bought a penthouse in Dallas. So, and all my friends out there had nice cars. So I was like, all right, I might as well, pick up a little toy out here that goes kind of quick. So I had to keep up with the boys because they had like McLarens and, Lambos. So I was like, all right, time to upgrade. Let's get the GT3. So bam, 23 GT3 correlates. That's me. I'm also wearing a shirt, Plenum clothing company that I acquired close around that time frame. So I was always wearing my clothes. I still do. This isn't Plenum. I should be wearing something, but just I just don't have anything on today. But yeah, just explaining this pic. And yeah, stuck with the silver, both silver. This one a little more dustier. I need to clean that car. This picture is so funny. Anyways, but yeah, these photos eerily similar. Let me try to disappear. There you go. But anyways, okay, I'm talking about the cars way too much. Let's talk about my trading journey. So I picked up trading right while I was in Hawaii. The first time I ever found out about trading was when I was in training for my job, and that was in Georgia, and it's called AIT. So while I was in AIT, which is kind of like your schooling to teach you whatever your job is that they give you or that you select. For in my case scenario, I selected it, and that was communications. And I got placed in the infantry unit while I was in Schofield. But I did all my training in Georgia. Anyways, first introduction to trading was in Georgia, and it was through one of my other fellow soldiers, and they were trading on his phone, but he wasn't really making that much money. He showed it to me. He was trading pennies. So I just didn't think much of it. I was always about getting money. Like my entire life, I've always been about getting money and just hustling in any way I could because who doesn't like money? If I'm a whore for anything, I'm a whore for the dollar bill. All right. I love getting to the bag. So he showed it to me, didn't look that impressive. I didn't understand he was trading low numbers, but he was trading pennies. He was making a few dollars. And I was just like, that looks way too complicated for way too little income. And I just didn't pay it any mind. That was my first introduction to it. Past that, I get to my unit, and then as a lot of you guys might have been introduced, probably in the same exact manner. I mean, other than my first introduction, which I kind of discredited and pushed off to the side. It was through MLMs. And this young man here was going after every opportunity to make money. I just got to the island. I was just trying to hustle and bustle and figure out other ways to make income. Because when you're a soldier and you're a private like I was, you don't make that much. And in Hawaii, everything's so expensive. It's like I wanted some extra money. So MLMs were really big things like 2019. And I was approached by someone and they wanted me to sign up for, what was it? It was called iMarkets Live. So I signed up for iMarkets Live. It was about trading. It clicked. I was like, wait, I've seen this before. And then, as everybody knows, so the thing was, I was all the way in Hawaii, and the way someone recruited me was through Instagram, and I'll pull up the DM right here. And as you can see, this it wasn't hard to convince me. I mean, you mentioned money and making it off my phone, I was there. And that's one thing I want you guys to take away from this story of how I got into trading is I wasn't afraid to jump into a new opportunity. I just told you, like, I was broke. I didn't have that much money. And it cost like $200 for the subscription that this guy was approaching me. And I didn't know who this guy was. But you have to take risks. You have to try things out. I took that risk. I did it. I wasn't afraid. You can't be afraid. Like, anyways, I did it. It didn't take much convincing. Because if it was fake, I'll figure out quick and then I'll get out. Anyways, I signed up, started learning about it, doing their, courses online that they had. I was joining Zoom calls that they were doing, but I joined like one or two of them. And after like the third one I joined, I ended up quitting, like not quitting, but leaving the call because the first, second, and third one were the same thing. It was just about recruitment. Now, I never got invited to like a house and did the whole like, everybody cheer and, we're all going to be millionaires because no one on the island was doing this. I was approached by someone who was, in fact, in Texas, and I ended up meeting them later on in life. And I actually took him for a ride in this car. Me and him were really good friends. But yeah, anyways, I never did any of those like housewarming things that I've seen them online, and I've actually been to a few since because I've been in the industry, so I've been around the block. So I eventually did get to experience that. Anyways, the way I was introduced, DM, boom, signed up, started doing the courses online. As some of you guys might know, they had a website and they had videos that you would go through. And I went through everything, or at least most of it, and then I started attacking the charts and trading on demo accounts. And then from demo account, I was making pretty good money. And then I went to a live account probably a month or two after learning. So it was probably like 2 months in, and then boom, I was already trading live money because I wanted to get started. I was like, all right, I'm ready to get rich. I'm trying to do this tomorrow. I'm trying to have my Lambo tonight. Anyways, as a lot of you guys might know, there's that greed factor and you have to control your emotions. So the first, I want to say 3 years of me trading weren't the best. I mean, I would make some money here and there and, I'd cash out and spend a little bit. But for the most part, I wasn't making much. I would make like, I would make some pretty major, jumps in capital, but then I would, kind of reset and push myself back. I would go up like 10K, boom, lose the 10K, it'd go up to 20K, lose the 20K. Then I'm trading with just a couple thousand, keep putting a thousand in every paycheck, and I'm just losing it. And then boom, I would win. My big break came in, I want to say 2019. I was trading Bitcoin during the bull run. In fact, I have a crypto chart right here. Oh, yeah, I think, what was it? Yeah, 2019, there was a crypto bull run where Bitcoin went from 4,000 all the way up to 13,000. And this was the second time. And the first time that it did this, I was in basic training, and this was in like 2017, and I was going through basic training. Everything was shooting up. I got out of basic training. I noticed, I was like, holy crap, Bitcoin hit 20K. Or yeah, December of 2017. And yeah, and I remember I joined the military, sold all my crypto because I was in crypto before I joined the military, just because was my parents wouldn't open up a bank account for me. And I used to, like I said, I was always hustling, but I used to jailbreak people's phones and people would pay me to do that, or I would just do random little like tech type things in my community. That's kind of what I was known for in my high school. I was kind of a nerd, but I wasn't like doing academically like amazing. I wasn't amazing academically. I could have been. I just didn't care that much about school, so my grades were subpar. I did take a few AP classes, but I didn't even graduate with a high GPA. I graduated with like a point 0.9 GPA. I think I was able to graduate only because one of my teachers bumped up my grade a little bit, and by the end of it, I think I had a 1.1 GPA, just because I deserved to walk. They knew I wasn't dumb. I just didn't like doing my homework, and maybe some of the classwork I didn't do, but all of my quizzes and tests I would ace or get B's on, A's or B's on my tests. But you get the point. I just didn't like doing classwork all the time. I would do classwork most of the time, but some classwork I just, if it extended more than just that day period, I probably wasn't doing it. And if it was homework, I wasn't going home and taking school with me, because when I got home, I was doing other things. I was doing like YouTube, I was doing Twitch streaming, anything except school, and always dealing with money. Anyways, I'm, trading here and there. I caught a really good trade in 2019, and it was during one of my rotational deployments with my unit, and I was able to short Bitcoin. And I had about $20,000 in my account, and I was able to short Bitcoin from where it was at. It was at like 13,000. I shorted, or 14, 13,000, and I shorted it and I held it, and it was during a crazy drop. I held it for like 3 days. I came up, I want to say like a quarter million off that 20,000, just because I was over leveraging and just not trading properly, but I got lucky and I caught a really good trade. And I made like $250,000. It was the first time I ever broke six figures in my life. So it was insane. And I held that trade, and I might have held it for a little too long, but I ended up getting out around a quarter. And yeah, that was my first big break in trading. So then I took that capital, I started investing into real estate. I bought my first house in 2019. I bought an apartment. Um, I bought some other cars as well. So I had upgraded from the Boxster to Cayman. I also bought a BMW. I had a Corolla. Man, like I was buying clothes and like more Yeezys. As you can see, I was slowly, getting into certain things. I had the Champion on. This is my first time living on my own. Um, so anyways, it's kind of balling out, it's the first time touching money. You basically blow your first bag. Anybody, you make your first little bit of money and you have no financial knowledge at all, in which I had none. Like, my parents don't come from money. My parents never taught me anything about money. The most they ever taught me about money was through Monopoly, and that was it. And then school, doesn't teach you anything. So I blew my first bag, of course. I made a few good investments. I put some money back into trading. Anyways, I kept doing that. And it was approaching near the end of my enlistment, and they were approaching me, asking me, "Hey, are you going to re-enlist?" Yada yada yada. And I really wanted to make trading a full-time thing, so I kept working hard at it. Uh, and yeah, it worked out. I ended up getting out of the military. I had some money in the bank, and it was in 2020 when I got out. So bam, COVID happened. So I got out right during the beginning of COVID. So everything went into lockdown. But that allowed me to just stay at home, lock in, and just trade all the time. That and go out and hang out with different people. So I was mingling a lot. Even before that, I was mingling a lot and meeting a lot of different individuals. Just because I had these nice cars and I was so young, and in Hawaii, people don't have sports cars unless they're like super rich, especially Porsches at 20, 19 years old. So people always approached me and wanted to ask me what I was doing. So I made a lot of friends in the, higher tax brackets, and I was able to learn from them. And yeah, they were able to mentor me. I saw them as mentors. I mean, they saw me as just friends, but I was really absorbing all that knowledge because I knew I didn't come from that background, and I needed to absorb as much as I could so that I wouldn't, ruin my future. And of course, I still made mistakes throughout, my this, this 6, 10 year run that I've been on definitely has not been without hiccups. Everything is up and down. And that goes for probably most people's story, unless, you have like a really good upbringing and good, foundation, and you're taught well, like how to do everything properly. You're gonna end up like me for the most part. And there was also like online today, there's so many like influencers and gurus teaching people about finance. At the time, there was none of that. That wasn't even a thing. Like that started popping off after COVID. Like during COVID, those people started coming into the picture, and those influencers. But during my time of coming, like this guy didn't have access to any of that. Even when I would look up videos for trading just to learn, the videos that were online were horrible. Like not horrible in the sense that the information wasn't good, but they were so boring. Like, and it was always some old geezers just explaining the markets and using old software and just not making it fun. And yeah, it was just such a drag. A lot of so that's why basically everything I've like learned about trading, it's self-taught, and me doing research and reading. It's a lot of reading material. Baby pips is what I used a lot. And then for baby pips, I would branch off and research different things because, as you guys know, the MLM scheme thing, it just mainly it's about recruiting. And I wasn't about it. I mean, I ended up dipping my toes back into that arena just because I wanted to help others figure out trading, because I noticed individuals in the MLM space were having difficulties, and I was like, I want to help people out. So I ended up getting back into it. Plus, I missed that community, and after getting out of the military, there's such a strong sense of brotherhood and community in the military. And then once you get out, it's just you're on your own. And then especially with trading, it's like you don't really make any friends. You can't just nobody just is trading like that. I mean, now there's a lot of traders and there's conventions and stuff like that. But at the time that didn't exist. So there was the pyramid schemes, or not. I don't like to call it the pyramid schemes. It's because it's like a bad word, but because it really did uh, change my course, and put me onto something that really is great. I mean, people dog on it pretty heavy just because they do some corny things, and their main thing is recruitment, and most of them do make their money just from the recruiting, and they're not trading for real. Anyways, I miss that sense of community, so I hopped back into that sphere of things, and I started meeting individuals, networking more, and learning more about the financial world, and understanding that I needed to build a hedge fund. Anyways, I got into hedge fund management, money management, working with clients relations, and things really went up from there, because in the past, there were no prop firms funding traders like myself. So if you wanted capital, if you wanted funding, you had to go out there and network and talk to individuals and convince them that you're their best option, instead of them putting it away in a 401k, that they should be investing with you. and how, like, so that's what I had to do. So prop firms weren't a thing for me. I've never used a prop firm. I've never needed to use a prop firm because I've, built up clientele over the years, and that's where I'm at now. But yeah, that's just like a quick little synopsis about me. I mean, there's definitely a lot more and a lot of stories in between that. I mean, I've done I've done a lot of things, like even um I've done like TED Talks at BYU or at colleges, college campuses, and done entrepreneurship events. Um, yeah, no, I've got plenty more stories, but I want to keep this video short. I don't want you guys, stuck here for too long, but I just wanted to give you guys a quick introduction to myself as you guys go. Before you guys go dive into these videos, and maybe you guys have already seen a few of my videos, but just know who the individual is behind the screen, and so that we can, connect more on a deeper level. And, there's a lot of individuals that are in the military. I just, we should relate. I just want you guys to know that I'm just like you, and I started at zero as well. I mean, I understand like this might look crazy, but I bought this car. This car was hella cheap. Like cars were mad cheap at the time. I even still took out a loan. I didn't have all the money to pay this. I put like $7,000 or $8,000 down, and I got that from my bonus that I got from the military. So I took my full bonus and I put it towards this car, and then I still had to pay off like another $4,000 on it. I think in total the car was like $13,000 or $12,000 around there. And funny thing about this car, by the end of it, it ended up getting totaled, and then I got an insurance payout, which more than covered what I owed on the car, obviously, because I had I put a pretty substantial down payment. And anyways, they gave me a little, like an extra like 2 or 3 thousand on top for sentimental value. Um, yeah, so yeah, I actually made money on this car. And yeah, like I said, super cheap. Porsches were really cheap, cars were really cheap at the time, and it was just a really good lick. You can't do that anymore. I don't know. Maybe Boxsters are still pretty cheap, but this was a Boxster S in like really good condition. Anyways, I'm talking about I love cars. Obviously, I love cars. But yeah, comment below. Tell me about the beginning of your trading journey, how you got involved into trading, how you discovered it. Yeah, I want to know more about you guys who are watching. And thank you for, sitting through this video and, indulging. I really appreciate it, honestly. And please hop on in the description. I should have the Discord, and I'll even throw in a link to my clothing brand, just so you guys, if you guys want to cop some clothes, I really appreciate it. You should be supporting me and the company, and me and my partner. I'm in business with one of my friends, so we really appreciate that. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for watching, and maybe I'll do a part two or dive deeper. Definitely gonna go through the comments, but yeah, I appreciate you just sticking around, Let's get closer. Join the Discord, hit me up, ask questions. I want to help you with your journey so you can get from here to here, just like me.